What's the most legendary thing you ever watched a student pull off at school? Our school had this rule that if you racked up 3 demerits, you were banned from walking at graduation. No ceremony, no cap and gown, nothing. They'd just mail your diploma in a manila envelope like a parking ticket. And the man who handed out those demerits like candy was our Dean of Discipline, Mr. Vance. Vance was the kind of guy who wore a whistle indoors. He patrolled the halls with a handheld clicker for tallying dress code violations, and he kept a laminated demerit pad in his breast pocket at all times. Untucked shirt, demerit. 30 seconds late because the bell was broken, demerit. He once wrote a kid up for aggressive eye contact. Everyone was terrified of him because 3 strikes meant your entire senior year counted for nothing. I only knew about the loophole because of the dumbest assignment of my life. I was on the school paper, and my editor made me write a filler piece about school history for our 60th anniversary issue. So I spent an afternoon in the basement archive reading the original 1963 student charter. Most of it was boring stuff about pep rally scheduling, but one line stuck out. It said any disciplinary ruling affecting a student's participation in commencement or school ceremonies could be reviewed and overturned by a 2/3 vote of the student senate, and that the senate could be convened by any student who gathered 100 signatures. I remember laughing. There hadn't been a student senate in like 40 years. I filed it under weird old rules nobody uses and forgot about it. Then Vance came for Danny. Danny was the quietest kid in our grade. First in his family headed to college, full ride waiting for him. His grandmother had already bought a plane ticket to watch him walk. He had 2 demerits, both garbage, and everybody knew Vance was hunting for the 3rd. He found it on a Tuesday. Danny's dress shirt had a tiny logo on the pocket that violated the solid color policy. Vance wrote the 3rd demerit right there in the hallway, smiling the whole time, and told Danny to his face, "Guess your grandmother's flying out for nothing." Danny didn't say a word. He just went pale and walked away. And something in me snapped, because I remembered that dumb line in the charter. That night I typed up a petition. By lunch the next day I had 200 signatures. Turns out when everyone hates the same man, people sign fast. I walked the stack straight to the front office and formally requested the student senate be convened, citing the 1963 charter by page and section. Vance heard about it and actually laughed in my face. "Go ahead," he said. "Hold your little club meeting. It won't change a thing." He'd never read the charter. Why would he? Nobody had in decades. But our principal, Dr. Sloan, had to check. And when the district's lawyer confirmed the charter was still legally binding and had never been repealed, the whole thing stopped being a joke. Sloan scheduled the Senate session for Friday in the auditorium during an all-school assembly because the charter said sessions had to be open to the student body. Friday came. The auditorium was packed. I stood at the podium, the charter shaking in my hands, heart going 100 miles an hour. Vance sat in the front row with his arms crossed, still smirking, certain this was going to fizzle out. I read the clause out loud. Then I called the vote to overturn Danny's 3rd demerit. Every hand in that auditorium went up. 800 kids, near enough unanimous. Danny was walking at graduation, and there was nothing Vance could do about it. But here's the part that made it legendary. I looked back down at the charter, at the sentence right after the one I'd been quoting all week. I'd skimmed past it 100 times without thinking about what it actually meant. It said that once convened, the student senate held standing authority to review any and all active disciplinary rulings from the current academic year. Any and all. So I read that line out loud too. And then I asked the room one simple question. Should we overturn every demerit Mr. Vance has issued this year? The auditorium detonated. 800 hands shot up at once. Kids were standing on their seats. Every petty demerit, every ban, every student he'd humiliated all year, wiped out in a single vote in front of the entire school. Vance shot up like he was going to argue, opened his mouth, and Dr. Sloan just raised one hand and told him to sit down. The demerit system was suspended that afternoon and never came back. And Vance walked out of that auditorium red as a stop sign while 800 kids gave Danny a standing ovation.